doctor. He's on the line. We'll take incubation another day. I'm all alone, so are we all. We're all clones, all are one and one are all are one and one are all. We destroy the government, we're destroying time. No more problems on the way. I'm through, doctor, we don't need your kind. The other ones, ugly ones, stupid boys, wrong ones. I'm all alone, so are we all. We're all clones, all are one and one are all are one and one are all. Six is having problems, adjusting to its clone status. All day long we hear him crying so loud. I just wanna be myself, I just wanna be myself, I just wanna be myself, be myself, be myself. I'm all alone, so are we all. We destroy the government, destroy time. No more problems on the way. Doctor, we don't need your kind. The other ones, ugly ones, stupid boys, wrong ones. I'm all alone, so are we all. We're all clones, all are one and one are all are one and one are all. I'm all alone, so are we all. We're all clones, all are one and one are all are one and one are all.
And the terror begins at midnight. Midnight, when the dead drink the blood of the living. Midnight, by the quarter of night of the living dead. Now don't miss John Russo's Midnight. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent. If you have a weak stomach, don't come.
Well, I don't have a weak stomach. I don't know about you, Sam.
I do. I have acid reflux issues, but
didn't you
I think
throw up after Zombie at the drive-in? Was that you?
No, that was that guy I saw throw up. Yeah,
it was you. We always say it's someone else that threw up when really
no, it was
us.
me.
I think it was.
Yeah,
I agree with seeing you, Sam. There.
We were talking throughout the movie. I see a lot of comments on the music. This really feels like TV movie music throughout, which is I really dig. I love this movie, and I like it even more after watching it again.
Yeah,
it's very 70s TV movie occult, and that's cool, and I love that for what it does. It's got a great trick ending where it's like, cool, like let's have a sequel, and we never got it. The sequel would be fun. I want to know what's going on now.
John Considine, who plays Dr. Death, he worked a lot in TV. There were a lot of people in this movie. We just need to like run down this list of greats here.
Yeah, let's go through it.
There was John Considine has worked in a lot of television. And I realized just tonight what I remember him from. You know, his face was always kind of familiar to me. And tonight I realized I had this episode of Remington Steele on VHS. I happened to record it one night and I watched it over and over again, and it was about this phony faith healer that everybody goes after, and like he's the faith healer. It was just like a Dr. Death type character.
Man,
He's still playing. He was
okay.
typecast apparently.
He's in Free Willy 2, The Adventure Home. He's Commander Blake in that. How about that?
Yeah, that's a big idea to
Yeah.
get used to.
Of course, he was on Heart to Heart and Murder She Wrote. But do you know what I mean? Like if you
Oh,
were an actor and didn't make it on those shows.
naturally, you
I
got
watched
some
one the
work.
other day, and Susan George was on the one I watched the other day.
No, oh my
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
on Heart to
Leslie
Heart.
Nielsen too. No, Murder She Wrote.
I'm sorry, I got the two transposed.
Yeah, on Murder She Wrote. But yeah, she was barely in it. But yeah, who else we got? We got Barry Coe. He was Mr. Goodwrench in the 70s and 80s. In the commercials, and in the movie Follow the Sun. Cheryl Miller was Sandy. What do we know of her, Bill? Anything?
I wanted to talk about
She was
Stuart
on.
Moss being in it.
Yeah, she was on Dectare, and she was the typical American girl for Walt Disney. She was Miss Golden Globe in 1966, and she was honorary mayor of Studio City, California, of 1966. And she's in a lot of TV stuff. Stuart Moss, though, Bill, you can speak to Stuart Moss, I'm sure.
Well, just from the Bat People. I mean, after you've done the Bat People, why would you go any further? In fact, I hope he stopped acting. Well, no, I guess the Bat People was before. No, Bat People was after Dr. Death.
It was a year after.
Yeah.
And he was also in Raise the Titanic. That's his last movie. Maybe he, should have not done that. Leon Askin from Bill Remind Me is from Hogan's Heroes. Yeah, Thor.
Yeah, he had half a melted face.
Yeah. Joe Morrow was in Terminal Island. And plenty of other stuff. She's also in Gidget, 13 Ghosts, Brushfire, The Legend of Tom Dooley. So she's in a few other movies. Florence Marley played Tana in this, and she was in Tokyo Joe, The Damned. She's in The Astrologer too, one of my favorite movies. Queen of Blood, Tokyo File, and End of the Night. And then we have, of course, Mo Howard. This is his final film. Just weird that Mo Howard shows up and he's like so low. Like once you know he's there, it's hard to. You just keep looking at him. Do you know what I mean? You're like, wow. Jim Bowles was in this. He's in a ton of stuff. Nightmare Honeymoon, The Great Texas Dynamite Chase, With Six You Get Egg Roll, The Love God, and Larry Vincent played the Strangler in this, and in the movie within the movie, and he was Seymour's Monster Rally and Fright Night in LA. He was a monster host. So that's kind of cool that he was in this.
Don't forget to talk about Denise.
Oh, who's that?
The girl with the flat tire.
Oh,
Her name is really Denise.
really?
Mm-hmm. Either someone's kooky, either her parents or her agent.
Man. Denise, my niece Denise.
The last movie she was in is The Last Song, starring Linda Carter.
Oh. Wow. What else was she?
That
she's
thriller.
In, oh, yeah, I
in
see
1980.
She was in Lady Sings the Blues and Almost Summer
Wonder
as
Woman.
well. Yeah. Let's see what other facts there are. There was no time for multiple takes in this movie, by the way, in case you're wondering.
You don't say.
Yeah, so that's what they did. The film's intention, like I thought, was to make Dr. Death a new horror character and be the first of a series of films. I'm all for it. I'd like another one. And Barry Gordy financed this movie. Yes, the same Barry Gordy from Motown. And he directed the scene where Dr. Death is trying to convince a spirit to enter the body. That's Barry Gordy doing that. the director, Eddie Cieta, said at one point he took a phone call and the actors decided to film a scene. He came back while they were filming and yelled cut, and he said, how was it? Did I love it? So he was super invested in this movie. He did a lot of second unit stuff. He was second unit on the Man from Uncle TV series a lot, Brian's Song, the really famous TV movie. He was also often a location manager or a production manager for films. He only directed 2 other movies. 2 other things. He did an episode of Man from Uncle and an episode of Hondo. Is pretty much the extent of his directing.
His surname was Death, and his Christian name was Doctor.
Yes. I like the origin of Dr. Death and all those people walking. I thought that was pretty cool. I have several questions about this movie, though, that I'd now like to bring up. Is the real bad guy our hero? Because his wife, how long has his wife been dead, first off? Let's establish.
Well,
I'd say
they don't really tell you in the movie. It's not clear how many days have passed, but that was my first reaction. It's like, well, is this still a viable body? Could you?
Yeah, let's say his wife's been dead. I'm going to go long, a week to 10 days.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. The body would be in rigor mortis. There would be no blood in it. If it was staying like it should look, obviously, did she already get formaldehyde put in her? Do you know what I mean? Did they do everything?
They didn't, I assume.
Yeah.
The rigor would have passed. The rigor passes after a certain time.
Oh, okay.
But still, you're dead.
But still. Yeah. 2, he got with that secretary really quick.
Yeah.
Right?
We're
I mean,
I'm
not gonna, but she was into it too. She started it with this. I have tickets to a show. Do you? And my date canceled. Did he or she? Not gonna pass judgment. It seemed like that little situation came together quickly, and they went on several dates. Several dates.
His friend at the office encouraged it, though, because of course that was his first reaction. Was, okay, your wife's dead. Let's find you somebody new. Within a couple of days of her passing,
he's like, the only way to get over someone is to get under somebody else.
Very well put.
Thank you. But I don't agree with this, may I say. But moved very quickly.
It's rude.
Yeah. At some point, I agree with Nora. The doctor was unconcerned with the quality of souls. Any soul would do by the end of the movie. He was finding girls in telephone booths. He was finding hippies in cars. He was trying to get anybody he could to go into the body. He was commanding, get into that body. You get into that body.
He wasn't good at convincing people to do things either, because they didn't want to.
He's very much a Wizard of Gore. What do you call it? Fudd Ramsey's blood-sucking freaks kind of guy. Like, did he? And also, he tells all those people that are gathered to watch his show, please don't tell anybody else about what you've seen here. I don't want any more people to come to my shows.
Well, what are the legal implications of this oath that you're required to take at Dr. Death's presentations? It was like in modern times, he'd have an infomercial, but instead he does it, in person in this little theater.
Everybody there is an accessory to murder.
Yeah.
Because they watched him saw a woman in half, right? He is very Death Master. I agree with you, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
He's very Count Yorga.
Count Yorga-ish.
Yes, Count Yorga-esque. Now, they watch him slice a woman in half, and then how is he getting these hot bodies? Like, that attractive body? Like, how did he get it?
With no marks on it.
No marks. So let's say that girl killed herself with pills, and what would that do to the body? Yet they're able to reanimate the body and put something into science. I don't want to get into the science. Fuck science. Bullshit science.
Yeah.
But it's very strange. But everybody there watched it. Also later, our hero watches Thor throw a knife into that attractive older woman's chest and kill her. And right?
Mm-hmm. It's
and
it's
he's just like, yeah,
irresponsible
I watched.
behavior.
He's a lawyer. He knows the law, right?
Well, what is the law going to be for these resurrected people? Are they going to have a social security number? Because which
That's
social
what we said. Like,
security number will you get?
yeah, we watched. He watched a woman get killed, and he was like, "Well, I don't want anything to do with this guy, but you're an accessory to murder now. You know, like you didn't stop. You stopped it once, and then the second time you didn't. Yeah, drugs. That's really it. Um,
They had some good
Look, I could
drugs.
just watch the scenes. I could just watch the scenes of that Rolls Royce going through the old streets of LA. It was so warm bath comforting. Like it was just like, where's Angel? Is Angel out already? She's too young to be out in the streets yet. But
I like that
you know,
Keystone Cops moment where they pull away from Dr. Death's house right as Dr. Death is pulling up behind. Oh, and he had a car phone. Holy shit. He had an
oh,
early 70s car phone. Yeah.
also when the cops pull him over, they pulled him over to help him,
Yeah.
right? Come on. Also, they are LA cops because as soon as they came in, they saw Thor and they were like, he's blocking the door. Let's shoot him 12 times. No due process. No,
Mhm.
like, hey, we have a search warrant.
That was
Nothing. This,
brutal. It was really brutal. And it was totally unrealistic. So I
yeah.
wondered why the cops weren't chasing them and demanding
Yeah.
to know why they were trying to outrun. But somehow they've communicated with each other.
And they were drunk too. Like they pulled him over. They had whiskey and beer on their breath.
That's right. They were in a fucking bar before they did that.
And that
Jesus.
bar was awesome.
Oh,
That bar, that bar was
those
amazing.
lanterns. I want every
Oh.
single one of them and I want to put them all around this room.
But they were drunk and the cops pull them over and they said, hey, can you imagine this? That's the scene I want to see. The cops pull them over. They're like, hey, my girlfriend's soul is being taken out of her body by being killed by a guy that's 1,500 years old and his weird knife throwing assistant. And they're like, oh, we'll follow you. Really? White privilege as you've never seen it before in this movie. Anywho, a lot of questions for an awesome movie, though. I mean,
Oh, I love
Dr.
it.
Death killed so many people. I love
Yeah.
them menacing that girl in the telephone booth. Like he had to go in. What a prankster he is. He had to go in and write down the number from the telephone booth, right? And then call the booth and be like, maybe you shouldn't be in there. And she's like, who? And then they come in and kill her. Amazing.
This movie's
That's
fun. Like it doesn't take itself seriously at all, because really, how could it? But it's just
Oh.
sort of it's winking at the audience almost.
Also, there's that one kill where the guy's trying to act like a horror movie character, and we don't even see the doctor. They totally just ADR'd him and put him in.
Someone in the chat called her Linda Lavin, the
Oh,
screamer who
yeah.
just like kept staring and screaming.
Oh,
And that tool
and
she's in the
then
car with doesn't even turn and look and see what she could be screaming about. He just assumes that he knows why she's screaming, and he reacts to it dismissively and pays
do you think
with his life.
yes.
It's-
The other thing about Dr. Death, I saw the comment. John said he is a horn dog. Yes. Also, that whole scene where he's telling him, he's like, yes, I can bring your wife back. He knows he has a hot girl that he's just brought back from the dead upstairs. And he's like, I just want to get up there.
Yeah.
I just want to get up there. And meanwhile, she gets acid in the face and he leaves her in a room for 2 weeks with no bathroom and then hits her in the head with an axe.
She got Aunt Ida'd. I got something
my
for
God.
your face, motherfucker.
Oh my God.
I missed her death though. The mean lady that threw acid in her face.
Yeah.
I went downstairs for something, and when I came back up, she was dead.
Yeah,
Sorry,
she gets
mean lady.
a knife to the chest. And it kills her instantly. He says, she would have lived a long time and her ego would have never been able to take growing old. So we just did her a favor.
Oh, well, he was probably right, but
Yeah.
I love how everybody. This is how amoral these characters are. I mean, they speak for other people, because he asked her. He's like, "Why is he sawing her in half? This is murder." And she's like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
she wanted to."
Yeah.
It's okay. She wanted to. She didn't want to live in that body anymore. I'm like, that's you saying that, but you just sawed her in half while people watched. and
Can
did
you
nothing.
imagine that setup where he's like, I'm going to bring you back from the dead, put you in another body, but first I have to kill you with the most painful death and
Yeah,
theatrical death possible. Yeah,
that's just plain that's uncaring.
he's Doctor
He's a
Death. He's not Doctor Love.
narcissistic monster,
He is.
Dr. Death.
I like when he blames it all on the past. He's like, "Well, I was an actor in another life."
Sure, yeah. Oh, and he didn't
Do
like
you like?
being a woman for too long.
He did it twice though. Now
Yeah,
he's the third time. Yeah, yeah. He's
he liked it.
this movie's very open about its gender politics. There was that other guy was like, "Put me in a body like that." So there was that too. Um, yeah, Doctor Death's a pretty cool movie. I think Becca liked it, which was shocking. When it was over, she's like, "I really liked that. That was good." And I was like, "Really? Like that's awesome." So yeah,
No one's more surprised than me that she liked this movie.
yeah, yeah. How about Steve brought up that he's a xenomorph when his stomach gets cut open and he sprays black blood all over that dude's face. What a power!
Yeah, it not only does it melt, but it catches fire.
Yeah, man, it's something else.
Yeah,
He's really
Mandy
got a
thought that box
moveset.
looked a little cheap, and I agree.
Yeah. You know, though, they don't make many magic boxes, so they can charge whatever they want. Do you know what I mean? It's like they can be a little high if they want.
He even went transracial in a couple of those bodies. He's like, now I really know what it's like to live in another person's skin. I'm like, no, you don't. You just you just caught on for a brief ride.
Yeah. He's like, I've been all the races. I've been Asian, black, and white. I've covered everybody. And that, but have you? Yeah. Dr. Death did it though. He's been in. I like that his body now looks like his first body from the past. You know what I mean? The first one he moved into.
Yeah, he even says he's like, well, it sort of looked like me.
Yeah. Yeah. A little bit. He does look like Count Dante, the master of the black, the one finger death punch or whatever that was. That was in the comic book ads. He has kind of that look too. There's a lot of screaming in this, Paul. It wouldn't be one of our movies, right, Bill?
Right.
If it didn't have women screaming.
The standing and the screaming is what sets this apart from the others. And I agree with Paul. You don't normally see people stand this still and scream this emphatically. Nobody has that instinct to run in this film from nothing. It's just another person.
Bill and I are experts in movies where women just scream as loud as they can. And this is definitely on our list. It is no Alucarda, the most screamy movie of all time, but it's pretty screamy. So there's a lot of everybody in this movie has little brandy snifters too. There's a lot of little glasses, a lot of like social drinking, a lot of drinking in this movie. I'm a fan of it. I wish I lived in the time of this movie. LA was probably awesome, though kind of scary post Manson. A couple years post Manson, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun. No cops but no Giallo police in this movie. The cops were just like, we don't know. The newspapers are on it, but we just can't handle it.
They're like, yeah, we're stumped by it. Good luck with this.
Yeah.
Hope you figure this thing out.
Yeah.
Of course, it takes a citizen.
Maybe Carl Kolchak can come to town and figure this out after he's done with The Dark.
The Dark. The movie they forgot to put Kolchak in.
Yeah. Oh, but let's talk about Midnight.
Yeah, it's time to talk about Midnight.
If you have a weak stomach, guys, go get the Pepto-Bismol, get the Tums. Start eating right. Have some roughage. It's time for Midnight.
Why do you need roughage?
I don't know. It helps build your stomach up.
I see. You too can have a cast iron stomach. Just eat a lot of roughage.
Yeah.
Midnight is, as we said earlier, it's one of those movies that was better when it was blurry and scratchy and messed up.
Yeah.
So if you want to find a cheaper version to watch on YouTube, go ahead. I think there's a video rip posted. I linked to the Blu-ray though.
Yeah. It's good. The scuzzier the better for this movie. How about that?
Yeah. It really deserves it.
Yeah.
So when was the first time you saw Midnight, Sam?
Probably about 5 years ago, 6
Yeah.
years ago, and I was super excited about it. I'm a big fan. Do you want me to show my stuff off that I've brought up for it?
Yes.
I brought up my poster of Midnight, my
Ooh.
John Russo poster, which is pretty cool. Unlike my Majorettes one, it doesn't have coffee all over it, but yeah. And Bill used this illustration for one of the drive-in shirts. So pretty
Under
cool.
license from
Under
Independent
license, yep.
International.
Yep. This is the Severin Blu-ray of this beautiful back cover of it. And yeah. And guess what? My review's on the back of it. That's how much I love this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Shocking and depraved. How can you not love a movie that starts with a girl caught in an animal trap getting killed by children who pray to Satan? Hell yeah. That's how much I love Midnight. Also love Midnight so much. I have Midnight 2, the shot on video sequel that John Russo did.
Which is basically a remake, isn't it?
It is. And I also have the remake that came out last year, which I have not watched yet. But yeah, there was a remake that came out last year.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I did see the remake of Midnight.
Yeah, but this came out from SRS, which has put out a lot of the Russo shot on video movies. So yeah.
Maybe I haven't seen Midnight too.
Yeah, it's fun. It's not as good as Midnight, but it has Abraham is the last surviving member of the cult, and he moves to Pittsburgh in it. So there's a lot. Go figure, because you know the Russo's offices were in Market Square. There's a lot of wandering Market Square in it, Bill. So you have a hankering to see Market Square, circa 1991, 92, and who doesn't? I certainly do. Yeah, it's pretty nice. So yeah, do they go to the hat store? Yes, they go to the hat store.
Total Woman.
Total Woman, they go to. They don't go to Harry's Krishna.
Total Woman wasn't in Market Square. It was somewhere else.
It's up by Honus Wagner area. Oh, Honus Wagner. But anywho, yes, a big fan of Midnight, and the Majorettes, which we've already shown. We're going to show all the John Russo movies before we're done. Maybe Midnight does show Santa Claus, but we might. It's on Tubi.
Don't you think that this is probably John Russo's most accessible film?
Yeah, I think so.
That he made without George Romero.
Yes, exactly. I think this is. It's a lot different than the book, though, right? The book's a little.
I don't want to talk about the
different,
difference that I heard about between this and the book. Someone on Instagram posted it. I won't say it until the third segment because it involves the ending of the film. But I guess the book is different in a number of ways from the film. So we don't.
I should have worn my Independent International shirt tonight just for this, but oh well.
Oh well.
What can you do? Oh well.
Now you tell me.
Now you tell me. I love this artwork, by the way. I like that the guy was kind of sort of Anton LaVey too, in the background.
And might we say, we don't want to be too spoilerish, but there are no dead people that drink the blood of the living in this movie.
No, there's not.
So don't be waiting for it, because it's not going to happen. This image that they're showing you really has nothing to do with anything. Well, kind of.
Yeah.
It kind of does, but it's not this great. Trust us.
Wow. Boggy Creek 2 and Midnight and Christine.
Mm-hmm. Obviously from later in its run. This was first released in 1982. Yeah.
I like that Boggy Creek 2's title is like a full sentence. It's like Boggy Creek 2 and the legend continues.
Maybe it makes it sound like there's a second feature called The Legend Continues.
Yeah, and the legend. Do they really exist? I mean, yeah, you see the fucking movie.
There they are, right there. You see them right there. They exist.
I mean, we're looking at them. Yes, starts today. Just drop that sticker on. Midnight is on YouTube, Tracy. Bill has the link on his Facebook.
It's on Groovy Doom.
Groovy Doom, yeah. Oh man, if it's so good that I did not go to his store in Century 3 because I would have bought all the props from this. So, wow, is this another name for it? Wow,
it is. This is the 1985 reissue titled The Backwoods Massacre. Same movie though.
Is Hatchet Murders Deep Red?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
And Meat Cleaver Massacre. This is a Sam Night at the Movies.
Boom.
Wow. I like Midnight as a title better than Backwoods Massacre.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, my cigar was flaming out. RR. The Backwoods Massacre is a great title, but I think Midnight is so much more appropriate because this isn't really a massacre type film. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a little Last House on the Left.
Yeah. I'd like to ask everybody in the chat room to just start calling Deep Red the Hatchet Murders for me. It would make me feel a lot better. If someone said, have you ever seen that Argento movie with Dario Nicolodi where, the first one he made with her and you say the Hatchet Murders and people go, no, it's Deep Red. I'm like, I think it's called the Hatchet Murders. Just be an asshole about it. Thank you. Public service message.
Be that guy that no one can tell.
Yeah, exactly. Citizen Kane. Midnight and Funeral Home, totally there for this.
Yeah, this is an amazing night at the movies, I think.
Oh, man.
And again, this is titled The Dead Are Hungry. There are no dead people that eat anyone or anything in either one of these movies.
No. Nope. It does not happen.
That's interesting because Midnight is Independent International and Funeral Home is MPM.
Yeah.
Wonder if they were linked up in any way.
A tag team, if you will. In this. I love it. Oh. Look how beautiful that is, Bill.
Starts today.
I love everything about this ad.
Look, it was on 8 screens. I think this is near Miami. Oh, yeah, Miami Beach. I see that. So this was from Miami.
I mean, that's amazing to realize that this movie, not little movie, but it's not a major movie, but it was made here in Pittsburgh and it's playing these places. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And to walk into a theater in 1982 and be confronted with this film.
Oh. Wow, you could choose from Fast Times, Live in the Sunset Strip, or Midnight. These are tough decisions, Bill. But Midnight, 100%.
You come back after, a couple of nights. You can see all 3 films over a weekend.
Yeah. Wow. I like that Midnight got the biggest picture, though.
Yeah, this is what they were pushing. This is that junk that the moralists were saying was going to rot all of our minds.
Yeah.
And it did. They were right.
Yeah, they're right. I mean, we're putting people in cages, just like this movie.
Again, I do not have a weak stomach. I don't think and this movie is very violent, though.
Yeah.
It's very violent and cruel, a la Last House on the Left.
It's got Lawrence Tierney in it, too, which I'm super excited about.
Lawrence Tierney pushing all the daddy buttons.
Oh, I have some good Lawrence Tierney stories for when we get through these. Wow.
Yeah. Where to begin?
What? Okay. Drop some knowledge on this one, Bill, because I'm excited.
Well, you know that Beyond the Fog is also an independent international release, and that was originally from 1972, Horror on Snape Island.
Yeah. Wow.
Also known as Tower of Evil.
Trying to bring people in thinking it's a Fog sequel or related to the Fog.
Right. But Curse of the Living Dead is an even bigger mystery. You're going to die when you hear what movie that really is.
What is
Get ready for it. Don't go near the park.
Oh my God. You would get 2 daddies in one night with Don't Go. This is like a Bill double
Boom.
Feature. Yeah.
Curse of the Living Dead. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was Don't Go Near the Park. And I don't know. It's hard to find screenings of it under that title because it was also released. Curse of the Living Dead was used for that retitle of, I think it was Kill Baby Kill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or no. Curse of the Living Dead was the Murder Clinic. Revenge of the Living
Yeah.
Dead was Kill Baby Kill, and Fangs of the Living Dead was the other movie. So
It's funny because they also Independent International had Raiders of the Living Dead that Sam Sherman did for video too. So they were in the Living Dead business, so to speak.
mhm.
Yeah.
So this is probably my favorite of all the multi-film lineups that we've seen. Here's another Backwoods Massacre.
Oh gosh.
That is pretty gonzo, you have to admit. That
Yeah.
guy. What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Like a Frankenstein-y looking. I don't know what it is. All John Russo said is, "Can you make the boobs bigger on that girl?" That's what he said. Tonight, 2-night, Bill. Tonight through Thursday. THRE.
Maybe this
Love
was
it.
anticipating the opioid crisis.
Also in color. Did you see that? Like, in case you're wondering, it's 1980. Isn't every movie in color by this point? That's from the guy that created Night of the Living Dead. Maybe it's in black and white. No, it's in color. I swear to God.
Wow. I'm glad you pointed that out. I almost didn't see that. In
Yeah,
color.
in color.
In non-living color.
Lawrence Tierney was going to be Elaine's dad on Seinfeld. He's in that one episode where he plays her dad, and while in between shots, he was eating at the craft services table and took a knife and put it in his jacket and stole it. And Larry David was like, "That guy just stole a knife," and had no idea that Lawrence Tierney was a maniac, and got in a fight with him and almost got stabbed. Lawrence Tierney was kicked out. He would have been on the show several times as Elaine's dad, which was going to be a reoccurring role. But it's kind of the story of Lawrence Tierney's life of getting bailed out. He supposedly may or may have not thrown a woman out a window, which is very similar to a plot of a movie he had just been in. He was never arrested for lack of evidence. Um, he was constantly in fights, constantly in trouble with the law, constantly in jail. Very similar to the character he plays in movies, the cantankerous spirit that he is. But he was a great actor, so a lot of it he got kind of forgiven for until you just eventually can't forgive stuff. He got arrested while they were making Reservoir Dogs, and he had to get bailed out so that they could put him back in it for scenes. That's why his character kind of isn't in it too much, because there was some time where they couldn't find him. So yeah, pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing that he actually, this was way before Reservoir Dogs. And
Yeah,
because he looks like this could have been one of his last films in this movie. He
oh,
looks so bad.
I know. Yeah, he looked that bad all the time. I mean, it's
I'm
pretty wild.
sure.
Also, this movie has Tom Savini effects, which it does have some gore in it. It is a Section 3 video nasty, not one of the ones that you could be prosecuted for owning, but it was seized and confiscated. And yeah, John Amplis is in it. Martin,
Yeah.
he plays Abraham, who is also in the same character, is in the next one, the sort of sequel. Uh, and Lachette Carl is in this, who is a Pittsburgh-born actress who moved to London, and she was in the 2005 Doctor Who series, and she's acted a whole ton. She's in Bob the Builder, but she's been in a lot of Shakespeare stuff in England. But she's a Point Park graduate, as John Amplis teaches there as well. So kind of cool. This was shot for $70,000. There's a real life skeleton in it, and Savini left the film because he had to be in Knight Rider. So John Russo stepped in and finished the remaining effect shots himself. I'm going to say that Tom Savini is a lot better than John Russo, just as a learned thing. No insult to anybody. This opened regionally in Tallahassee, Florida, originally, Bill, in 1982, and then it moved to Nashville next. Jim Davidson of the Pittsburgh Press gave this a crappy review.
Of course they
He
did.
said, yeah, he said, as horror movies go, this has two major failings. It's not scary and it lacks a sense of humor. Fuck you. He added the film's black mass sequences are grave and heavy-handed. He isn't doing
Yeah.
grand gargoyle. He isn't spoofing Satanism or catering an audience to enjoy silliness or an artificiality of horror movies. I completely disagree. I think I kind of like how dark it is. So the sequel is called Sex, Death, and Videotape Midnight 2. So that should kind of tell you where Russo was coming from. It came out the same year as Sex, Lies, and Videotape. So it's all shot on video.
How clever.
Yeah. You know, my favorite product he ever put out is that one where it's just him walking around with the video camera at the Living Dead weekend that they had at Monroeville Mall, one of the first ones. And it's just him narrating over top of it like a home movie. It's pretty great. It's on Tubi too. You can watch that. You could make this with a cell phone. It would be better quality. And that's what I celebrate. I like when movies are scuzzy. I like when they're dirty, and this is definitely it. But
yeah, this is. I think that this movie, the worst thing this movie has going for it is the sound, because the sound makes it just sound so cheap. You know, they weren't good, but I think the way they shot it was okay. There were some interesting looking shots in this film. A couple of I don't want to like read too much into it and call it a set piece. Do you think anything in this movie could qualify as a set piece? There are a couple shots I think that are interesting.
Yeah, I think it feels like I know he didn't direct the majorettes. The majorettes feels maybe a little more put together in parts. It definitely has some like more set pieces, as you would say. But you know what? Whatever. I like this movie. I'm glad that it's from Pittsburgh. I'm glad that you can see John Russo at every convention taking a nap. You know,
it looks like it would have been fun to work on this movie.
Yeah.
I hope it was.
It does. Yeah. It feels kind of like something that Rob Zombie wishes he made. You know, it's kind of a scuzzy, satanic kind of thing, and I like that about it. I like the beginning a lot too. The first stuff that happens in the open of the film. I love that this cover doesn't really speak to it as well, though.
No, I don't like the cover.
No, this is the cover.
Yeah.
Like that's what the cover should be. That's a great.
That cover, the one with the clock. It's cool looking and everything, but it doesn't convey anything about what the movie's actually about.
Yeah.
Even though there are no blood drinking zombies in Midnight, that image does kind of appear in the film. So
yeah, it kind of gives it its like, I don't know. I kind of dig that look of it.
There is a desiccated corpse in the film.
Yeah. And as a donated skeleton from Tom Savini. So there's an interview with him on the Severin disc, which I have not watched yet, about what he did on the film. So I'm interested to see that. And I like anything Sam Sherman worked on. He put all his projects together. There's some cool stuff.
It's special if it's a Sam Sherman film.
It is, yeah. Hey, it's cocktail time.
Yeah, I think the audience is getting a little thirsty. I know I am. So here we go.
Is John Russo in the house?
John Russo's in the house. He's sleeping through it. No, he's in the corner talking to girls at the convention.
Selling old pictures.
Selling old pictures covered with coffee and cigarettes. Working at his school, teaching you how to be a writer. I love John Russo. I really do. I bought a lot of stuff from him. I'm sure I'll show it on the show. I love him. I hope he drinks this drink. I would like him to drink. Like, John Russo, I made you a drink. And he's like, I can't do that. It's probably going to kill me. He's like, apricot brandy. What are you thinking? What's that have to do with Midnight? I don't know. This drink's literally called a Midnight. We got 1.5 ounces of apricot brandy, 3/4 ounce of triple sec, 3/4 ounce of lemon juice. Do you have acid reflux like me? Perhaps you shouldn't drink this. Let's put it in the shaker. And let's put the lemon juice in the shaker. It's a pretty simple drink. In fact, we're going to try to fancy it up.
With a little cup.
With a little cup. Will it work? Will I spill it all over the place? How are my targeting skills? Bad. You ever seen me pee? Horrible. Anyway. I hope you haven't seen me pee. You got like a camera in my house or something? That's crazy. That's crazy talk. All right. Ice it up.
You should have just used the strainer.
This strainer's dangerous.
Yeah, but how are you going to get ice cubes in that little cup?
Magic.
This is why there are wives.
It worked much better than I thought.
Yeah.
Kind of like how whenever you are cleaning the car, you don't put the arm roll directly on
Someone decided to pick a fight with me last night at the car wash because afterwards we pulled around and we're gonna vacuum it out and spray, Windex, all that. Start spraying Armor All directly on the doors all over the place.
Apply directly to doors.
I scream. I said, that stains. And he goes, no, it doesn't. And then he read the back of the bottle. And it said, please spray on
And then what I do, I ran away into the woods.
He ran away because he knew he was wrong. Just know that you're always wrong and say, okay.
Midnight. Midnight.
Take a swig.
It's like a DJ Shadow song. Midnight. That's a joke like 3 people are going to get, but whatever. That's what this show's all about, right? All right, here we go. That is really good, actually. Wow. It's very complex, too. You would not guess that it's going to be that complex, but it is. Like this movie, made in Pittsburgh and the surrounding areas. Enjoy it. Enjoy midnight. Enjoy this fancy. Look how fancy I look. Should I put a pinky out?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, would you like to watch a John Russo movie with me? Oh, yes. We'll talk about its mise-en-scene and artistic merit. Wrap it up. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Let's get back to the movie.
Pazuzu.
Pazuzu.
We hope.
I want to get sponsored by these guys, Bill. This is my new drink to get sponsored by. I'm going to tag it. Electrolyte. It is, little kids that poop themselves get to drink, what do you call it? Pedialyte? This is Pedialyte for adults, but they don't call it Pedialyte so you don't feel bad. It's called Electrolyte. Now they got fancy flavors like cucumber lime. Let me tell you what, it is tasty, and it gives you a lot of.
It sounds good.
So, Pazuzu.
Cucumber lime sounds excellent.
Mm-hmm. I hope it looks like a couple people got my DJ Shadow joke, so very good. Thank you. I'm excited. And 3 people get a joke. That's what we're all about.
We are now approaching midnight. However, it's actually going to be 1 a.m. because tonight's the night we switch over to Eastern Daylight Time.
Get ready to spring ahead, and suddenly 2 a.m. will be 3 a.m. The third segment's going to get electrolit.
Yeah.
But yeah. In the chat, let us know if you've ever seen this movie before or if you're a first timer to Midnight.
Yeah, I assume that everybody's seen this movie. I mean, I know some people have definitely seen it, like Vince and Sean and Steve. Maybe you've all seen it. I don't know. Yeah. This was a big deal when it came out for me because it was one of those movies we were looking at those ads. And how could you see that ad and not want to go see that movie? It's such a beautiful image. And, that's a relative term in this usage, but it's just so alluring and it's sinister looking. Unfortunately, that's not what happens in the movie, but whatever. It was just the most exciting thing to me. And plus, I think it had to have gotten some coverage in the magazines, didn't it? Like Famous Monsters and Fangoria.
Yeah, it's on Fangoria, I think. Yeah. So Paul said don't think he's ever seen it. Phil from Making Tarantino podcast has never seen it. Mike Justice has never seen it. Maddie has said first time.
Oh wow!
David's
awesome.
Seen it. Yeah, awesome.
There are some first timers watching tonight. This is like our own reaction video
of Midnight. Yeah, Bill is got excited and disappeared. There he is. He's back. Hello.
It's our own reaction video scenario where we get to hear from people who watched it. And what did you think of Midnight? So we hope to come back afterwards and talk some more about it. I'm going to wait till it is midnight to start the movie,
though. Tease for next week.
Yeah.
Next week's movie, you'll be shocked we've never shown it before. We talk about it all the time, a lot. Bill and I talk about it in our personal talk all the time as well. And the other night, Bill texted me. I was just getting ready to go to bed, and he said, "What should we show next week? We only have one movie next week. Late movie, starts at 11." And Bill said, "What should we show?" And I said the tagline, and he said, "Do you think?" And I can't even say it because it'll give.
Yeah, you've already given it away. This isn't too hard to figure out now.
Yeah, so we were like, yeah, we probably should show it. So I was like, the Frozen Dead. No, we're thinking through some other stuff, and Bill was like, finally, he's like, yeah, that's the right movie to show. So yeah, super excited. That's next week. This week That's what we're doing. Hey, I can show. Let's jump ahead a segment, Bill. I'll show you what came in the mail this week.
Yeah.
While we're at it. We got from our friends at Wellgo USA, Born to Fly. This is a movie with Wang Yibo and a few other. It's an Asian film. It's kind of interesting, like a Top Gunish kind of movie. And then we got from Wellgo USA a Donnie Yen movie, Polar Rescue, which is pretty cool. I like Donnie Yen a lot. And finally, from Mill Creek Entertainment, this was on Stars. It's the Icons Unearthed History of Star Wars documentary, and it has uncut interviews with Marsha Lucas. Literally a over 2-hour interview with Marsha Lucas, Billy D. Williams for 37 minutes, and a 2-hour interview with Anthony Daniels. I'm really interested to hear Marsha Lucas because there's a lot about editing the first 2 films and helping to make them. So it's a pretty cool set. So I'm really excited about that. So that's from Mill Creek. That's what I got this week. So some fun stuff. Looks like a lot of first timers, which I'm super, super excited about. So that's great.
I'm trying to think of the first place I ever saw Midnight, and I want to say, let me know out there if this ever played on HBO, because that probably would have been the only way that I could have seen it until the video era. I'm pretty sure I must have rented it, and that would have been the first place.
I don't remember it at my video store. I know nobody would think of it at the time, but don't you wish someone had filmed your video store?
Yes.
And just did like a pan past the horror out just so you could see it again?
I can still picture it so well. And the thing that annoyed me is at one point they changed over from shelves and they got those. Remember the plastic things that swung back and forth? I hated those.
Yeah.
And
my store had had big dark wood paneled shelves, and they eventually went to 2 sides. They only had 1 storefront, and then they went to 2, and the horror section was all just one section was just horror in one room, and it was it was so nice.
Yeah, I've said this many
Becca said
times.
she remembers how her store smells. She even said she has that sense memory. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I've said many times about how the 2 women who ran our local video store were really into horror. So they had a huge horror section. They were all into it. And plus it probably sold well for them. They probably made a lot of money off horror rentals. That's where I saw all the good shit, like the zombie wizard giant box, the dead pit with the flashing eyes on it, and the Frankenhooker VHS box that said, "Want a date?"
Yeah,
there were other ones too.
Bleeders there was bleeders that you could move the blood inside it like a meat package. There was that one too. They had that at my store. I know they had the Wizard video boxes, and they had the infamous first 2 Faces of Death that of course had a piece of masking tape that said must be 18 to rent. Though strangely, Bloodsucking Freaks, you did not have to be 18 to rent, which is pretty crazy. Maybe they didn't know what was on it. I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, I can't believe I got to rent this, and that nobody. And same as Toxic Avenger. Like when I watched it the first time, I'm like, they let me rent this. Like I was like 14, and
they rented me all the unrated stuff.
Oh yeah,
I mean they wouldn't have let us rent porn probably. Like if I don't even think they had porn there.
Yeah,
well, they had to have. They were a rental store.
They didn't have the book. The giant book of porn where you had to say the movie out loud.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's not a correct way to run that type of business.
Especially in a small town, right? Try that in a small town. Don't do that.
People talk.
Yeah. People like I heard your dad in the store looking for White Bun Busters. That's a real movie. Dark Brothers movie. Cinema. Anyway, Midnight is 1982, David, if you're looking for it for Midnight. I can definitely see the Wizard video boxes, though. I know, and I was intimidated by them as a kid. I was like, those movies seem something wrong with those movies, and I wasn't yet ready. I can also see the action section. There was a whole just straight up ninja section, which, man, I wish I could see today.
Yeah. Well, it all became so homogenized at one point. They had to cut those big boxes to make them fit these little plastic holders. Yeah. That broke my heart.
Oh,
I
I
think the
hated
first
that.
time I saw that somewhere, I was like, "Oh, why would they cut it like that?" But
Yeah. They did at Scarecrow in Seattle, the VHS boxes, they've crushed, not crushed, but pushed the boxes down, and they have them in like plastic backing, and you flip through the boxes like that. You bring the whole card up with you if you want to rent VHS. You can also rent everything from Scarecrow Video anywhere you're at in the country. They rent by mail now. You can rent up to 3 videos at a time, and they have 80,000 movies. So if there's a movie you're looking for and you can't
wow.
find it online, I would definitely recommend Scarecrow. I have a couple of videos on my YouTube page of me going through the movies there, and like just to see if stuff's there. It's incredible. Like the Sergio Martino section had like 35 movies in it. It had like everything he ever did, whether it was on Blu-ray,
Wow.
VHS, or DVD. Like it's pretty wild. So it's
That's a big idea to get used to.
yeah, it's it's something else. That story
Do
is
they rent bootlegs?
yeah, they have bootlegs. They have some Video Search of Miami stuff, like boxes and stuff. Like they have pretty much everything. So it's really wild. Like it's almost intimidating when you're in there because you know what I mean. You're like, there's just so much. Like, not that I was renting anything, because I'm visiting, but just going through and seeing the stuff. And they actually have like 5 or 6 computers throughout the store to type in the name or whatever you're looking for to do a search, and it'll tell you where to go in the store. It gives you like a little map, shows you where to go. 'Cause it's 2 floors. Um, it's something.
Wow.
Yeah, it's there's a whole room that is just the psychotronic room that is just strange movies and like different people when you give money, because they're a nonprofit company, and you can actually create a section if you donate enough. And there was a whole Bigfoot section that someone had donated. My friend Brian actually donated a couple of the Ron Orman movies that are in their stock because it's like he actually did a rip of a couple that he owns, and they're on the shelf there with his name donated by him. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, he kind of gave me a walkthrough of the store last time I was there and showed me some of the weirder things. Some of the stuff that they that is like super limited. You actually have to put a down payment on it before you rent it.
I was gonna say, like, what do they have a waiting list? Because there's gonna be the same shit that everybody's gonna want it. So,
Yeah,
how do they handle that?
I know that's kind of how they do it. But Becca's cousin lives there and she rents from there all the time. It's pretty close to where she lives, and she said, it's neat because like if you have mainstream interest, they have everything new that's just come out on DVD too. You know what I mean? It's not just like crazy stuff. Like there's everything. But like if you want to rent like TV series, they have like every TV series. There's a whole room just of TV series to rent. Like it's like being in a small library and just getting lost. And it's really something.
Hey, it's midnight.
It's midnight. Let's
Why
get
don't we
into it.
start midnight?
I'm really excited for everybody to watch it. So let's let us know what you think and enjoy it. So talk to you guys soon.
All right, yeah, come back after the movie. We'll have more to say. We'll find out what we're gonna watch next weekend on the show, and plus, general mayhem. Expect it. Be here for it.